So 3 years ago at Manhattan AVP, I street preached. And this is the story of how the Lord gave me clear direction to do this. By street preach, I mean with a microphone and a speaker. There's no video of this anywhere. But so about 4 years ago, I met with my coach and he asked me for some goals or some things that I see in the future. And I told him like, hey, I'd like to street preach on the pier in Manhattan, maybe next year. And he's okay. So he wrote it down in his journal. A year comes by and I'm at this church and we're about to start worship. And I get a text from my coach saying, hey, I was just looking through my journal, saw that you said you wanted to preach on the street. So AVP is coming up in a couple weeks, so like get ready. And then worship starts. And I'm like the whole time during worship just thinking like, oh no, how do I get out of this? Like I don't want to do this. I was afraid, like, and just trying to figure out every way really just to get out of it. And I prayed and I was like, Lord, if you want me to do this, like you got to just tell me. Like you got to just make it very clear to me. Because I don't want to do this. So worship ends. They tell us to go just like kind of greet your neighbor, go around, meet some people, shake hands. And so I'm doing that, and this one guy comes up to me, and he's like, hey, like, I'm Bob. I'm like, oh, I'm Diego. Good to meet you. He walks away. A few minutes later, this guy comes back to me, and he goes, hey, I just, like, have to tell you, when I shook your hand, I just got this, like, very clear image. And it was you building an igloo on the sand. He said, you're thinking of doing something that is so contrary to the norm. You're doing something that people think just isn't possible, that wouldn't work out. And the Lord's saying, just go for it. Take the leap of faith, jump off the high dive, and just go for it. Because it might seem impossible to men, but with the Lord, all things are possible. And I'm like, what the heck? I cannot believe like this just happened. He just so clearly like answered my prayer, made it super clear to me that this is what the Lord wants me to do. Because I was just acting out of fear. I was just like afraid. Like obviously like this is something that the Lord would want me to do. Obviously this is something that I wanted to do. But it was that fear that was holding me back, and the Lord just giving me that was incredible. So I ended up preaching, and it went really well. And but I think it's so wild how he, like, of everything this guy could have told me, he said, you're thinking of building an igloo on the sand, or you're building it like an igloo on the sand, an ice home on the sand. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Of course, I mean, but that's how the Lord works. That's what the Lord does. He always has us do things that seem so contrary to natural wisdom, you know, to our fleshly thinking, yeah. But the Lord's like, he does that because he wants the glory. He's like, it's not by your power, by your strength, not by the wisdom of men. And the Lord does this all the time. So pretty crazy how the Lord gave me that 3 years ago. So I think that's encouraging. It's encouraging to me now looking back on it. Yeah, and I hope you're blessed by this.